Good evening, everybody. I hope you are doing well. Welcome to tonight's aviation show. Good to see some of you in the chat already and getting involved. And yeah, new faces, old fart with the GoPro. Good. I hope you're all doing well. Just let me know if you can hear me, if everything's streaming okay, and then we will crack on. But yeah, I hope you're all doing well. I hope you've all had a good week wherever you are, and yeah, are staying safe and healthy. And it's interesting, I think, right? All of the kind of lockdown restrictions, it seems, across all of the whole of the UK are slowly starting to ease, which is awesome. So hopefully means we can get out and do some flying. You know, we can get back to unmanned and manned aviation and start to go out and enjoy ourselves a little bit again, particularly with this weather. But you know what's going to happen, right? I'm not going to say it, but you know what's going to happen with the weather and when we're able to get out and go flying again. So there we go. Right. So just a quick one. We are in. Well, I mean, we're trying to update the studio all the time, right? I know I got a bit of grief again this week from people like, oh, your colour temperature and your colour balance is up and down and blah, 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 and your picture quality is shite. It's like, we just can't win, right? Like, I'm doing it in the garage, guys. We're not in a studio. So, but we have got a brand new rig that we built, world's fastest PC for X-Plane 11 and for some streaming as well. So there's a video coming to the channel on that in the next few days, or probably early next week now, because we've got everything done for this week. For i9 10900K, if that means anything to anybody, overclocked massively and yeah, cooled down a lot. So that's really exciting. That's really cool. But we are working on that today for the first time with all the new settings, and we're using a different streaming software. So anything could happen. This is live television after all. But there we are. So John Mansfield, first on tonight. Welcome, putting the first one in there. MB Moore, nice to see you. So lots of new names I've not seen before. Sean Diamond, Well Davies, PD Tech, hello flying dudes. GEEKSVANA, Sean will be joining us very shortly to talk about this week's drone news and things that have caught his eye. Darren Eleanor, welcome. Mick Curran, good evening. Who else have we got in? Big G, RC and video, spent the afternoon with Big George Wrigley, Big G, in the 2 Comma Club in what's probably going to be the final round table session. It was a good session. PD Tech, Midlands Cruiser, new Mavic Air 2 owner, nice. I'll be chatting to Sean, seeing if he's gotten his flying as well in the meantime. AirTech Images, good evening. Elsmeged, hi mate. Obviously couldn't fit the extra E in answered into the thumbnail. No, and it's a great marketing tactic, right? It's got another bit of engagement. I'd like to say that was deliberate, but it probably wasn't. Old Fart with the GoPro, hello. Big G back in. Rutland Aerial Photography, Tapesy Tubbs, hello. Got AirTech Images. Got my first dressing down last night by an angry onlooker. Not a clue. I was very polite and moved on, trying to do my bit for the drone community. Thank you very much. Yeah, it does happen from time to time. All these people who think that when we're talking about having spotters with you and things like that, where it's like, oh, I don't need a spotter, mate. We can crack on. I should have my hat right. Did anyone see that? I hope you guys enjoyed that this week. A little bit of fun in the intro, trying to put a bit of myself and my own personality into this thing, because it's always like, Matt's the drone regulations dude, and that isn't actually who I am. Yeah, so interesting, and yeah, a lot of kickback from the FPV community, particularly Swan tonight. I won't give them the light of day and air on the channel. Go and read through the comments on today's video if you want, but you know, interesting opinions, and I take people's opinions on board, but you're wrong if you don't think that you need spotters and stuff like that to keep you safe. Is my take on it. It's all about being safe and not pissing people off, pardon my French. So AirTech, I hope it ended well in the end anyway. There we go. Matthew Hurst, the legend that is. Been out doing lots of flight assessments this week. Oh yeah, it'll start radio. Stratus Imagery, hi Sam, from Stratus Imagery, TA Air, Bill Hunter, Gorilla Drones, Paul McAllister, great stuff. I hope that's everyone away so far. There we go. Yeah, interesting week, I think, for aviation as a whole. Quite a few bits going on. You know, I mean, on the general aviation side of things, or the commercial aviation side of things, we've got the EasyJet announcement, I think, came out today, having said a few days ago that they were going to try and keep everyone safe. It looks as though they're now going to lay off thousands of staff, which is a real big shame. I think there's going to be lots of that over the next probably 12 to 18 months, to be honest. Although we are seeing the general aviation side of things start to open up again. You know, as I was talking about today to people in the round table session, it's one of those where the demand, I think, is going to be much less for business travel in particular. So the appetite isn't going to be there, and if the appetite isn't there, then you know, are people going to want to travel, and therefore are we going to need the aircraft? Who knows? You know, I'm going to chat about SpaceX stuff with Sean as well. He doesn't know that yet, but that will come in. Yeah, hide in the bushes. If while you're flying, it really confuses everybody, and it's funny because it's like lots of people talking about things, you know, saying, well, actually, you can get caught out by these things and by other people, not just saying that happened. So yeah, that's happening. GA, General Aviation, has started to open up again around the UK. Some of the larger airfields have started to open again, which is great to see. Lots of light aircraft out and about, and that's amazing because, you know, that really is the grassroots side of aviation in the UK, and that really is where everything gets fostered and nurtured and starts to grow from. So really good to see that that is happening, and I am hoping to get back in the air again in the next couple of weeks, full sized. We're going to be bringing more of that to you on the channel. Just before we dive over and speak to Sean, it'd be much appreciated if you could hit that like button for me, please, now. And if you're watching and you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please consider subscribing to the channel. We've also set up Super Chat for the first time ever, and kind of the custom emojis thing. If anyone feels so inclined, then if you are enjoying the content we're bringing to you on the channel, it would be much appreciated if you could dive into the super chat side of things and get your name emblazoned on the chat for a set amount of time. Anything you do along those lines helps us to keep the channel going. And yeah, you know, I'm hoping to go kind of full time with the content creation in the very near future, but I need your help to do that. So it's you guys really kind of doing that, watching the adverts, and yeah, we're going to be setting up a membership on the channel as well. It'd be really interesting to see what your thoughts are on that. Potentially doing live streams and stuff. Darren Eleanor, the first ever super chat. Thank you very much. That is very much appreciated. So all that really helps us out. Help get the channel growing. So without further ado, I'm going to dive on over. I'm going to give our resident drone journalist, Sean Hickey, a call. Sean, go.
Hello, sir.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad, thank you. Just waiting for the. Oh, I've not got your picture up. I've just got your little icon. We got audio this time though, which is a nice change.
Where is my picture?
No.
Okay, give me 2 seconds to try something else.
Okay, no worries. See, I've got it right this time. I'm OBSing out.
It's your fault still. Sorry.
Is it? Just blame me. That's fine.
I'm fine with blaming you. Okay,
this is live TV, ladies and gents. This is how it works sometimes, right?
This is exactly how it works. Bear with me. Sorry,
That's okay. I don't think it's anything at my end because
I don't think it is because my Skype actually isn't responding.
Oh, I'll tell you what. Do you want me to call you back?
Yes, please.
Okay, bear with. I will call you in a moment. There we go. Cool. There we are. At least Sean's got his mic on. Yeah, that was exactly what I was gonna say. I was gonna give him some banter about that. It's normally Sean. Sean doesn't have his mic switched on for anyone who watches Sean's channel. And if you're not subscribed to Sean, go over to GEEKSVANA after this. He's going live, I believe, tonight at 9:15 British Summer Time, very shortly, and he will be able to chat to you there, and hopefully everything works on that side of things. Here we go. Try it again. Take two. Okie dokie. Well, I will wait out on Sean then, and see if we can get him in a bit. Is there people saying my volume's gone faint? Is that? I'll just boost it back up again. Is that any better? Hopefully that's better for those. Yeah, we want memberships. Cool. I will get that sorted. Hopefully my mic's come back again now, guys. I just moved it down a little bit. Sorry, it was joined to the Skype volume as well. So just let me know if that is working okay. Right, I'll go through a few questions. I'll wait for Sean to try and get back in touch with us. Where are we looking? Just watch an old-ish video with GEEKSVANA. Is it true it will be allowed to make money with drones without a PfCO, YouTube monetization from Midland Cruiser? Yeah, that is true. So when the new drone regulations kick in, the kind of definition of commercial drone flying disappears. You will be able to operate a drone for commercial gain or without. Here we go. Hello.
Oh, hello, sir.
How are you? Are you working? That's all right. No picture. No picture.
Oh, I've had video on my side.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How?
Everything seems working this time.
Bizarre.
I opened a hole in space and time last time with it. Although I seem to, it might be because I called you actually.
Okay, let me call you back.
Yep, sorry, bye.
That's all right. Oh dear. Call him back. Finish answering that question. Oh yes!
There we go.
Yes!
Yeah, that was Skype crashing my end, unfortunately. So I love the setup though, it looks amazing.
It's cool, eh? Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Likewise, your studio, I love that your studio changes all the time as well. It's amazing.
I just rebuilt it this week yet again.
I think it's one of those things, right? We just keep adjusting and tweaking and changing things until...
Exactly.
Until we get... Mate, just 2 seconds. I'm going to just finish answering this question and I will come to you on a moment. So, yeah, the commercial kind of definition disappears in the drone world when the new regulations kick in, and all of a sudden you don't need a PfCO to make money from flying your drone. What you need a qualification for is to be able to get closer to persons not under your control, so uninvolved people, and potentially to operate in kind of congested areas. So that is what happens, and it all, as I say, it becomes about risk, it becomes about operations rather than being based on you wanting to make money. So that is hopefully fairly straightforward. And if you want to know which courses, we've got lots of videos and help on that, but just let me know and I'll run through those as well. But hopefully that answers your question. Steve Fuller, thank you very much for your super chat, sir. That is very much appreciated. Okay, so let's roll on over to Mr. Shaw. How are you?
Hello.
The microphone's back on and everything.
Indeed. I only heard the last part of what you said there. Did you answer the thing about being able to monetize at the moment as well, of course, because it's not contract based and...
Yeah, that's a good shout. So yeah, if you're doing it for YouTube, technically you can do that now because you're not...
If it's your own channel, yeah.
That's right, because you're not under a contract. There's no contract between the operator and the person that you're providing that data to. Things to watch though, if you are doing it at the moment, so between now and when the new regulations come in, technically you need a permission for commercial operation to conduct contracts for other people. That is really important. You will need commercial drone insurance once the new regulations go live, which is another thing that I think a lot of people are missing, and we don't know yet whether you're going to be able to get that drone insurance without having done any kind of qualification. If you are, I imagine it'd be a lot more expensive. And yeah, so there's a few nuances to it, but it is true that will be disappearing. You know, and yeah, I think it's opening up. A lot of people frustrated. I understand that, but it's going to open up a lot of options for people moving forwards.
It's going to be interesting, isn't it?
Very much so, mate. Yeah, very much so. There we go. So, what have you picked out for us this week?
We had a story out yesterday, which is if you remember about a year ago, DJI came out. I always say DJI came out and talked about the fact that they had found a lot of corruption within their supply chain. And that led a lot of people to speculate that that's the reason why the P4 disappeared from shelves for a while. Of course, it's now back. And in fact, they've had their first convictions of a couple of now ex-employees who were buyers who have been convicted of a $10.5 million fraud in which they pocketed about $500,000, basically selling parts to DJI for anywhere up to 50% more than the market value. Doing the old invoice back thing, switcheroo.
Crikey.
So that sort of opens up so many funnels of thought process of, you know, have we paid more for our drones than we should have done? If they're saying it's the DJI themselves think the total fraud is somewhere around $140 million. That's a lot of money for them to pass on to us, isn't it?
Yeah, big time. Yeah, even amongst the number of units they sell, that's Yeah, it still makes a big difference, doesn't it?
Exactly. So yeah, that was a very interesting story. But again, you have to, especially with companies the sheer size of DJI, you have to take your hats off to them for coming out publicly and speaking about this, for trying to face it down. I think in other sectors in electronics, you do sometimes get these issues, but a lot of the time the company will just NDA everything and just make things disappear rather than come out publicly and try and fight the corruption. So I think I have to have a little bit of respect for the fact that they've at least tried to do something here.
Yeah, and I think that shows probably how progressive DJI are. You've got me doing it now, you bastard. It shows how progressive DJI are because, as a company, because when you think of where they are headquartered, that goes very much against the traditional and the ethos and ethics of people in that country, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So very interesting. Have you got any information on the Autel DJI patent fiasco?
Yes, only that it is a fiasco, and there's already been a court ruling since, which has basically ruled that the Autel patent in the first place was unpatentable. So in actual fact, the patent itself should never have existed. So yes, Autel technically win under that patent, but the things they were trying to patent in particular were really should never have been given in the first place. So
right.
it looks like it will probably go away. There is a higher court, the JTC, I'm probably getting the initials wrong, that it has to go to, which basically oversees all these types of things as far as actually how do we implement any kind of patent laws and etc. And it's not expected to get through that stage.
Right. Okay. So it isn't necessarily kind of breaks on, everyone go out and buy all the DJI parts you can get in the world because they're going to be stripped off the shelves.
That's right. And I think this is purely personal opinion. I think in the coming months we might find that the reason Autel won that particular court battle is because DJI decided not to put the money into fighting it because they knew that the building blocks, when it gets reviewed, that's the bit they were going to concentrate on, and actually having the entire thing swept away rather than just fighting the point of the patent. It's kind of like, I suppose, arguing with someone over something, when the basis of what their argument is completely false to begin with. There's no point in having that argument.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that might be what actually happened here.
Okay, interesting. Thank you. Now I know I caught a really good live session with yourself. I think it was last Thursday, actually. It was after, was it? No, it was on Tuesday. It was the Microdrone 4. Gosh, I can't remember.
Yes.
So it was last Thursday, yeah. So we wrapped here, and then you went on into the night, late into the night on Microdrone.
Yes.
I think, to be honest, could you just give us like a 1 or 2 minute précis of what that's about and what you're doing? Because although it might not affect too many people here, and I know there's a few people in the chat I've seen who were in that as well, I think it might be worth just letting people know, because we're all techie, we're all into that. I think all of us could potentially fall foul, even myself, right, with the Lily drone and stuff back in the day.
Indeed.
We could all fall foul of that kind of thing. So could you just give us a précis of that and where things are and the process?
No problem. The very short story is essentially Microdrone is a product sold by a company called Extreme Flyers, who are actually Extreme Toys Limited. They have developed different iterations of the model. The first ones were literally rehoused, mass-produced Chinese drones. The third one, Microdrone 3, was subject to a very large crowdfunding campaign, which was one of the most complained about on Indiegogo at the time. When the product finally was delivered, most had faults. Many were already broken. The arms were already broken.
Oh, really?
Vernon Kurzweil, the campaign owner, then launched another one, Microdrone 4.0, looking for $75,000. He raised on Indiegogo's UK page alone £1.5 million, and overall we understand somewhere just short of $3 million in funding. And he has taken now 18 months, and he still isn't in full production with the drone. He's constantly providing updates which just don't stack up. He's come on for a couple of long interviews with me earlier in our relationship. We don't have quite that relationship anymore.
Right.
Where we basically attempted to get some answers for backers, and it's a situation where, I'm short of calling it a scam. but the update put up only a few days ago, which really felt like an update answering my live stream rather than really talking to his actual customers, which was a shame. Really didn't go very far at all. I mean, he's talking about fixing some of the problems that they're having with the arms with super glue, that they found injecting super glue into the arms gave more stability to the gimbal.
What?
That was an official comment put on the Indiegogo page by the campaign owner.
Wow.
And really where we're at is we are trying to get some more publicity towards it, and also get Indiegogo themselves to now step in, which they have done in the past with other failing campaigns, to assess where they are, find out the truth of what's happening with the campaign. If he has not squandered, misspent the money, however, if it is all gone, so that the backers know what's happening and whether or not there is going to be any kind of drone coming out. There is also all sorts of investigations going on to it, because he promised a 12 megapixel camera and it's actually a 5 megapixel, and flight times have halved and that type of thing. So it's really become one of those sort of like the old Watchdog program type scenarios. But myself and Ash from Droning On have taken up this particular cause. And we don't really want to leave the backers hanging. We, every time I feel like the story's coming to its natural end for the channel, something else happens. So now we've actually organised an open letter to Indiegogo, and the backers are all emailing us with their contribution numbers, which will go on the back as the signatures, essentially, which we've had hundreds of now.
Wow.
And hopefully that'll get Indiegogo and some of the larger tech media to sit up and take notice.
Interesting. Thanks for sharing that. I think, like I say, although it might not affect directly people here, I think we've got to be very careful, particularly as we move forward and the technology advances more quickly, when the new regulations come into effect and allow people to generate, and create these new aircraft. We've just got to be careful that we don't fall foul of it. So no, thank you for that. And you'll be live again tonight, 9:15, I think.
No, I had some tech problems today, so we've actually bounced that one, which is the drone show with Lib, which is a weekly, a bi-weekly show we do with my co-presenter Lib. We're actually doing it live, but we had some major tech issues, which, although I'm back up enough to be able to do this, all of the OBS scenes, etc., were wiped out, unfortunately. So I've got a lot more setting up to do, but it'll be next Thursday at 9:15 instead. So
okay, cool. So after this, no problem. That's cool. Well, the other one I wanted to just chat with you, because I know we had a quick chat about space and stuff last week. SpaceX, obviously, they aborted the launch last night.
They did.
I mean, crikey, I spent a lot of time in Florida, right, when I was younger, when I did my private pilot's license, stuff like we talked about on your channel a few weeks ago. The atmosphere on the Cape, on the Space Coast, at this time of year in the afternoon is just charged and primed every single day. So it always surprised me when I lived there, when they went for launches, and we weren't surprised when they got cancelled. But I understand there's more to it. I guess there's commercial pressures, there's strategic pressures from the military and NASA and that side of things, I guess, and the orbit of. There's a lot more things, I suppose, cogs that have got to fall into place. That's why they do it. But yeah, shame it's scrubbed. But looking forward to the launch.
It was, no, indeed, it was. I think they went for that date in particular because it was going to be some anniversary of one of the original launches from the pad. So I think that perhaps it's one of those situations, a bit like the Space Force drone, the X-37B, that there was a lot more marketing into it than necessarily just science, which is a shame. But yes, I'm as you were alluding to there, I'm hearing other things were factors as well there. And I suppose when you've got the private company coming together with the military, with intelligence, with NASA, with everything else, that there are so many timelines and so many sort of health and safety things to mesh together. It was always going to be difficult, but I'm really looking forward to Saturday because it sounds okay. But I was told yesterday that the weather can change like that in that part of Florida as well, which of course is it doesn't really help, does it?
No, I mean the like I say, the atmosphere is so buoyant. There's so much humidity, there's so much heat, and the troposphere is so thick the entire time at this time of year that it's just.
I think it was actually the electrical content in the air that it was the static which actually was the official scrub, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's it. And I think there's 4 or 5 criteria, like cumulus clouds and no lightning within a certain vicinity and certain wind shear and stuff.
that actually brings me to a point. Actually, I did see, only because you talked about cumulus clouds.
Yeah.
I did see somebody mention in the chat earlier about whether or not they should do their A2C of C, because obviously whether things will change or move again, etc. Having sat my A2C of C course, I actually think, regardless of what criteria EASA, CAA, what everybody else is doing, that course should also be marketed as just a drone beginner course, because it is excellent. I did sit Matt's company's one, UAVHUB, and the things I learned in there, I consider myself an experienced hobbyist, but I really did learn a lot of facts that I've kind of had wishy-washy in my head before, if that makes sense. And I think it's an excellent course to take. You know, you do learn about all sorts of things regarding cloud coverage and everything else, whether it's how to assess whether it's safe to fly and that type of thing. So, to whoever that was in the chat, I would still recommend it.
Yeah, thanks, mate. It's and that's it. It's not just, and that's one of the reasons actually we priced it initially where we did, and I think a lot of people were like, "What? You've priced it that low?" You know, I think. Yeah, people were expecting it to be a lot higher, but for us, again, it's about safety. Like that is, we want hobbyists, not from a commercial point of view. We want hobbyists to do that course from a safety point of view, so that, you know, because we're all kind of aviators, right? And we're all using the sky, and so.
I mean, I've been flying drones as a hobbyist for good years, and I learned things and had other opinions in my own head solidified. And I walked away, even before I took the exam, I walked away from that course thinking, actually, I've genuinely learned some things now. And it gives you the confidence, because as channels, we both get those questions of people that are, sometimes they're almost too afraid to ask them in the comments, aren't they? And say, actually, can I just ask this? Can I have to fly in this situation? And something like that course actually really, really defines everything for you, and gives you the confidence then when you are speaking to members of the public who approach you.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Thank you, mate. That's really good. And yeah, look forward to hopefully seeing the launch on Saturday. But again, yeah, fingers crossed. And Saturday would be good because hopefully I can get to sit down and watch it. I think the launch window is a little bit earlier.
Yes, it is.
So hopefully we can still see it come over the top of the UK.
It just looked so exciting, though, didn't it? Seeing astronauts in
so cool,
suited up, and it was fantastic to see. So hopefully we can get that step further this time.
Yeah, I was just before we cut off, mate. I'm sorry for keeping you, but I got the chance. I spent a couple of weeks with NASA over in Texas, and as part of kind of the Air Force thing. Yeah, that's it. Just saying.
Huge name.
Just saying.
I spent a couple of weeks hanging out with.
Just
NASA.
how it is. That's it.
Okay.
And we got to watch a launch from Mission Control, which was really cool. Wow. And great to see. And then I got to go in the space shuttle simulator, which was incredible. But what was really interesting last night was seeing that they've got 3 touch screens in front of them. And I dare say, like, the access to all the systems and everything in there is mega complex. But from an ergonomic perspective, which no one thought about in aviation ever until recently, like, they've got the things they need right in front of them, the big panic handle in the middle that both of them can get to, and touch screens. And it was just like, that is unbelievable. Like, they've got so much room in there. Going into a space shuttle, I mean, we went in our own clothes, well, flying suits, right? And there were so many switches. You needed 2 people at the front and someone sat behind you just to move the switches that you needed to do to operate the thing. It's just, what a generational change.
I did have actually, if you have time, I did actually have a question for you on general aviation.
Yeah.
Did you see the Virgin Atlantic rocket boost test where they dropped the rocket from the 747?
Yeah.
What kind of adaptation would you have to do to that 747 to be able to do that? Is that literally just going to be a retired plane and they've just stripped it out and that's it? Or do they have to reinforce anything? Because it really took off afterwards on a bank. Yeah,
so there's a couple of things with it. So there are a few reasons they use the 747. The primary reason, well, obviously it can carry the payload, it can go high, it can go very fast as well. It's a very fast aeroplane when it gets up to the right altitude, a lot of power. But the primary reason is that the 747 fleet were built with an additional pylon, or certainly additional hard point in the wing, so that they could ferry 747 engines around the world. because they were too big and too bulky to get inside other aircraft.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's fascinating.
So that's it. So actually, there's lots of there are lots of pictures out there, if you look, of 747s where they are literally ferrying an engine. They take the core out of the engine because it will get knackered spinning around. But yeah, you literally.
Have you any idea how I would have felt walking up to a 747
5 engines
and it's got an odd number of engines as a nervous flyer? I would not have got on that flight.
It's a spare just in case.
Somebody would have said, "Oh, we're just dropping that off in Denver."
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I'm taking the train.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
I didn't know that. That's fascinating.
Yeah, so that's it. So it meant that they, already had a pretty solid starting point. There was a lot of reinforcement because I think the ballistic system weighs like 20 tons and the empty engine weighed about 4 or 5, I think, off the top of my head. This is real geekery now, right? I don't, because I haven't looked at it, but yes, there was stuff required, and but
just some great shots as they separated, weren't they? Sort of, when if anybody says we don't do anything in aviation anymore, you have to look at things like that and think, come on, we just fired a rocket from a 747. It failed, but it will work next time. Even Elon tweeted them, didn't he, to say, hey, we failed on our first run, so don't worry about it. So,
took me 8 goes to get it right, or whatever.
Innovation, it's great to see it happening.
That's it. I actually I wrote a paper back in the day at the Defence Academy where I was saying that actually for me a 737 would be the ultimate weapon delivery platform because it's fast, it's got a lot of payload potential, it's really kind of economical, that you can get the parts everywhere, you can land it anywhere, as long as it's got the appropriate protection. That thing,
that's a really good point
in terms of so it's quite interesting, I think. And then funny old thing, they've used I guess they've kind of used that, and the new P-8 Poseidon, the new maritime patrol aircraft that the Air Force have got, it's based on a 737, so...
Yes. So are you going to be knocking at their door saying, excuse me, my paper back in...
Yeah, that's it. Pay up, that's it. There we go. But yeah, there we are, mate. Well, listen, thank you ever so much.
No problem.
Much appreciated. I look forward to catching up with you next week, and then seeing you on the live afterwards. Everyone go and give Sean some love in the comments, and go and follow at GEEKSVANA. Have a great weekend, mate. I'll catch you soon.
Speak to you soon. Looking forward to your guest.
Cheers, dude. See you in a bit.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
There we go, everyone. So that's Sean from GEEKSVANA. Like I say, please go and give him a follow on the channel as a fellow YouTuber. It really does help us out if you kind of drop on over to someone else and go and give them a follow, go and share the love, give them some love. Cool. So my volume still mega high, everybody? I've just spotted a couple of someone saying, would I ever go into space if I had the chance? I absolutely would. And a little bit of kind of tit for tat for you. Every year in the Air Force we get an annual review, and every single year my 3 choices were fast jet crossover, which I ended up getting but couldn't then exercise, test pilot school, and entry into the space program. Every single year my posting officer would push back and go, don't be so stupid, you can't join the space program. I'm like, why is it an option on the form then? That's where I want to go. I want to become a test pilot, I want to go to space. Then Tim Peake did it, and I was like, there you go, sign me up, put me on, coach. There we are. Anyway, I'm going to call our next guest, Adam Howard-Dobson, Echo-Alfa. Yes, here we go.
Good evening, good evening.
Hello, mate, how are you?
Not bad, thanks.
Good. Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Sorry we come to you a little bit late.
No worries.
But there we are. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for joining us, taking the time out. Got the kids to sleep.
Thanks.
And
thanks for the invite.
jumped on, eh? No, it's great stuff. Thank you for, like I say, joining us tonight. We're really lucky, I think, to be able to get guests such as yourself on, and Pete last week, and we've got Will Glover from FlyEye coming on next week as well. People who really are at the top of the industry, at the top of the game, that know how it works inside out, and it's a real honour, because you guys are all really busy and you've got
Well,
other shit going on.
You guys helped us get here, so
Well, thanks.
more than happy to come and have a chat.
That's it. So no, thank you very much. So guys, in the comments, as Adam goes through, we're just going to kind of talk for 15-20 minutes, however long Adam's got really, and however long he keeps sending the questions in. We're going to chat through, Adam's journey. I was trying to play your show reel as well, but unfortunately, I'm afraid I just couldn't, because it's all the OBS is new. Okay.
No worries, it's a bit out of date.
Yeah, that's okay. I've just seen in the comments people are saying that when I talk in, my mic's low when I'm live, and then when I come to with a guest, it goes high. So I'll try and modulate that and get it right. So apologies, everyone. It's brand new to me. But yeah, we were going to try and pop that in, and unfortunately, I haven't been able to. So, but for people who don't know you guys, you operate under an OSC.
Yep. So I think we were one of the first to get an OSC on the Inspire 2. Yeah, you guys obviously helped a lot with that. Obviously, we approached you and said, look, this is what we want to do. It'll be mad. And we kind of approached it from a point of view where we wanted to look heavily at the ballistic recovery system, and use that as a big part of the mitigation. Yeah, we ended up getting an OSC on an Inspire with BRS, and an an Inspire without, slightly different permissions for each, but and it was just such a huge turning point for us. And I'll wax lyrical about how important an OSC can be to kind of taking your business to that kind of next level. And it's I mean, obviously the parachute's one thing, but there's an awful lot more that goes into it. And the full safety management system, and I think it's a mentality thing. There are definitely people out there that are never going to get to that because they have the wrong mentality. I'm a fanatical about human factors. I think I find it fascinating, and I think if something's going to go wrong, it's nearly always going to be down to somebody doing something wrong. It's very rarely down to mechanical error these days. It does happen. We know it does because we had an S900 drop out the sky in early days, but the equipment's got better and more reliable. But I mean, human factors is definitely a big thing, and I think it's being prepared to never stop learning, basically, and using the resources out there and the forums that are out there as ways to glean information rather than to have a spat or get involved with the next person that says, oh, they're flying illegally, and what do we do? How do we report them? It's like, well, yeah, okay.
That's so much fun. That's so much fun.
Yeah.
So, mate, we're at the OSC stage now. You do a lot of work for TV, I think, primarily. Is it fair to say?
Yeah, and we've recently done some film work as well. And that's what we're now starting to focus on a bit more as well, TV and film stuff. But early days, a lot of the work we did was inspection. We came into this with a view to be with a film and recording background, and Alex's background is obviously in video production, but we found very quickly that there was a lot of money to be made in the inspection side of things. And early on, you may not have the ability to go and do film or TV or that kind of stuff because you just don't have the credentials or the background. So we kind of follow the money in the early days, and that paid off really well for us.
Nice.
So it was a lot of hard work, and then we got some lucky breaks, and that kind of slingshotted us to where we are now. But yeah, it's been great fun.
I think, yeah, I think that's quite an interesting one actually, because you mentioned you got a couple of lucky breaks. Pete actually, when he came on last week, mentioned that oh, I was just right place, right time. I mean, Pete's like the most modest person in the world. Like he's a total
Yeah,
legend when it is a total flying ninja.
yeah,
So it's and a lot of people are like, oh well, what chance have I got if I don't if I'm relying on luck and all this sort of stuff. And I was like, no, he's
and
really
I
modest, but you make your own luck, right?
yeah,
Like you've still got to
and
have the skills, you've still got to have the
yeah,
attitude.
you've got to be hungry for it. And I hasten to say lucky, because it's it takes um the fact that you put hard work into it out of
Yeah.
it, and yeah, we did put a lot of hard work into it, and we still do, and it still gives me sleepless nights, but it doesn't running any business,
Yeah, big
but
time.
yeah, it's um we've definitely got to a point now where we're very sure about what we do, how we do it, the way that we've structured the business and the way that we've got to where we are now means that we can be very sure about the jobs that we want to take and the jobs that we don't. And obviously, there's a lot of people in this industry that are doing the race to the bottom, and pricing is a big thing. And yeah, I think we've been, again, fortunate in the fact that we've got to where we are now, and can be kind of steadfast and say, what, this works for us, this customer works for us, or this this is a job that we can do, and a customer that understands the real value in what we do, um, and we can accept those jobs, and then there are other jobs that we quite happily pass on to other people
Yeah.
that don't suit.
Yeah, which is a great position to be in, isn't it? And
Yeah,
but then you, like you say, you only get there by putting the graft in and being, like you guys. And it's the same with Pete. There's definitely a theme, I would say, amongst the people who are at the top of the industry where they are, obsessed. I would suggest with, and fastidious probably is the more um, apt word for it when it comes to your procedures, when it comes to learning about aviation and realizing that you're flying a drone, but actually that drone's just there to capture some data
yeah,
of some sort, whether it's film, whether it's 3D data through photogrammetry, but it's about knowing more than just the fingers on the sticks type thing and getting the drone in the air.
absolutely. And Alex touched on that when he came on. It's that at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you gather the images. It just happens that we use drones, but the customer wants the data set,
Yeah.
and you've got to get as good as you possibly can at capturing that data set, and packaging it up and making it look pretty, and that's what people pay for.
Yeah.
Uh,
And that, yeah, packaging it up is a big one, right? And I think we certainly found that, and we still use that in our businesses now, where we tend to package and bundle products together to provide a solution. It's not just going out and flying the drone. What and sorry, and that allows us to, as I think for you guys as well, and everyone at the top of the game, it allows us to keep those prices higher, because we're not going to someone and saying, "Oh, come and inspect your chimney and it will cost you 75 quid." Oh, but the man down the road will do it for 50. It's like, well, I'm gonna provide you with a structural report on the soundness of your chimney, and oh, by the way, we've got someone lined up who'll give you 30% off if anything needs doing of getting it done. And it's starting to think about it in that way. Ultimately,
yeah.
you're still flying the drone and taking some video or pictures, right? But it's, I don't know, it's just getting that.
So one of the cushy gigs that we got early on was after Hurricane Irma. So we were talking to a loss adjuster about gathering data that they couldn't get any other way, and the idea was that they would fly us out to BVI, and we would capture as much data as we possibly could on high value losses, and rather than just go out there, take pictures, and send them the photographs, we started working with another drone operator, chap called Gary Rowe, and we, with him, helped to develop a portal that we could display and deliver the results of what we were capturing. So we were
Nice.
doing high volume data capture, orthomosaics, and generating orthos overnight, and then building them into a platform, and then giving the customer access to that. And the platform allowed them to take measurements from the layers that we were putting in there. It allowed us to embed video, images. They could zoom in, zoom out. They could compare. If we'd done more than one run, they could look at previous and after. And it was creating that service, and not just going out and capturing the images, that kind of made it what it was. And
Nice.
yeah, that I look back to it now, and it was crazy the amount that we were doing. We were capturing during the day, and then it was being developed. Gary was working on it back in the UK overnight, and then by the morning we'd have another version, and it was it was full on.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that I think a lot of people when they're starting out in this game are missing out on. Like, you can come at it with not a huge amount of experience potentially if you're very good at networking, if you're very good at business development, if you're very good at seeing opportunities and realizing that actually partnering with someone who can deliver better than you can might be the way forward, because it enhances your capability very early. But I think for us, it's that solution piece. You develop that piece of software like we do, and I think a holistic package is what people are looking for, right? When you think that's what we did in the training thing when we first set up. I think the reason we managed to get so far ahead of everybody in the first 12 months wasn't because of price, because our prices were the same, if not slightly higher actually, than everyone else at the time. It was because we said, look, if you come and get that from us, if you buy your drone from us, we'll give you free training, we'll give you this, we'll give you FR flight reference cards, we'll throw all these bits in and make a bundle. And that's effectively what you've done. You're not just doing the drone, you're providing that full solution, which is what people want. Ultimately, they don't want to, a loss adjuster doesn't want to go somewhere else to get someone to analyze the pictures and compare them. They want to come to you for that whole package.
And the key thing was that they also needed data quickly as well, and they had to be, so the system was web based as well, so it was just a login. And then and also we realized quite early on that people needed the loss adjusters game is an old boys game, and some of them aren't particularly computer literate. So Alex would be creating video tutorials overnight that we could then send out to them so that they would understand how to do certain things within the platform. And it was just, again, it's that whole building out an entire package and making them get the value that they're paying for.
Yeah.
But it's the same with any job that we approach now. We no longer send out a quote that has a one-liner saying aerial imaging or drone flight. Everything that we send out now has a full breakdown of everything that we have to do to deliver that end result. It talks about data capture, it talks about online offline editing, it talks about color grading, it talks about video output for web, all of it, because customers and clients have to understand the value in what they're paying for. And if you're the person sending out a one-liner quote that says drone work, then they don't understand what's involved, and they immediately go, okay, well, you were just turning up, sticking a drone in the air and sending me the footage. And it's like, there's a lot more to it.
Why am I going to pay you for that? Because I can go and do
exactly,
that, right? Like that seems to be how people think with a lot of this stuff. No, that's awesome, mate. Thank you. Like I say, the holistic thing, and we talked about it again. And for those of us who joined the, and I know there's a few in the stream who joined us on the round tables today, we talked about that. Like, come up with the full solution, and that is it. For anyone who needed the proof that it's not just me spouting bullshit to try and kind of, convince you that you need to do more. This is it in action, right? And totally independent of us. It's nothing to do with us. These are the people at the top of the game, and that is how they're doing it. So if you want to get there, you've got to change your mindset, I think, and start to think, right, okay, how can I deliver a solution to somebody that involves flying a drone because I enjoy it potentially, but that isn't what you're doing. You're delivering a solution, and the drone is part of it.
100%.
What, mate, just taking a step back, because this is one of the questions that we always get in the thing. What kind of experience did you have before you started flying drones?
So again, I similar to Pete, but nowhere near as good as Pete. I started flying RC helis in about 2003, 2004, and crashed a lot.
Yeah.
You know, I started off on very small fixed pitch electrics, then moved on to some variable pitch electrics and petrol, and yeah, loved it, always have. And I've been aviation mad since I was about 6, and that's you know, I've done some hours in manned aviation. I was just about to do my solo on an R22 when I met my wife, and it all
Oh, yep.
I can't blame her, it wasn't her fault. I put it on hold.
Yeah.
So I have every intention of finishing my PPL. And yeah, it's a passion, and it doesn't matter what aviation I'm involved with. You know, I enjoy all of it. And yeah, I mean, even going back to the human factor stuff, even on the manned aviation side, I'm fascinated by reading crash reports and stuff like that, because you learn from it, and it makes you realize how much of aviation incidents are caused by human error. And as someone who wants to go into manned aviation or complete a PPL, it gives you that knowledge where, you know, you think back to reading a report about loss of tail rotor authority or something like that, and it's like, well, I've learned something from this, and it, you know, I don't think it makes me nervous. If anything, it makes me more more conscious about what can go wrong, and learn how to avoid it.
Yeah, it's a really interesting trait, I think, of people at the top of the game in general, where they are, like I say, fastidious. I'd say almost verging on obsessive when it comes to learning and getting better. You know, and yeah, the so again, as part of the whole kind of space piece, given that that's what we were kind of touching on before, I don't know whether you saw that, but I met Chris Hadfield and had a brief chat with him about a few things, and one of the and he talks about it quite a lot. He's like, we don't get into space by chance. Like, everything, absolutely everything that could go wrong, and then some, is rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed. Like, nothing is left a chance. And for him, he always says he boils it down into one page, like, what could go wrong that's going to kill me? And we don't go into space with our fingers crossed. We go into space knowing exactly how it's going to work and how it's going to happen. And I think, you know, it's a similar thing in aviation, right? Like, the more we can learn about, but from the mistakes that other people have made, just we've got to do everything we can not to make those same mistakes. So
yeah, totally.
Yeah, really interesting, mate. Thank you. And then the other one, the kind of final one, I guess, is what was your first job, if you can remember back that far, in terms of flying jobs, not your like going selling televisions or something at 16.
Yeah,
which is what I did.
I was a pot washer in a pub.
A pot wash.
No, our very first flying job was a stately home. And the name slips my mind now. It was up north. It was and this is another, you know, first commercial job. It was a wedding that we were doing some filming for, and it was probably a 3.5 hour drive up there. We got up there in plenty of time, but we didn't finish filming until probably about 8, 9 in the evening.
Right.
And then we hadn't booked accommodation. We hadn't charged for accommodation. Castle Howard, that was it. Well done, Alex. And then we had to drive home, and I was absolutely wiped. And thankfully, Alex shared some of the driving on the way back, but it was a bloody long drive because they'd closed the M1 as well. And yeah, but it, you know, it was great because we had our first job under our belt. Inspire 1 X3. It rained,
nice.
But yeah, you know. The first of many.
That's awesome, mate. The and again, really interesting point that everyone here should learn from. We talk about it on the calls. I've talked about it on the channel a few times. Not that anyone seems to go back and watch any of the stuff on the channel from the past, but it's one of those, like, it is the long days and it is knackering. Like, it's so fatiguing, and you're going to be tired even if you wrap early. So stay somewhere nearby and go for a beer and stay over the night.
The shoot we did recently at Royal Derby, we thought we could make it back. We thought we'd finish around 7 and we'd be able to drive back, but because it was like a 14-hour shoot, we were absolutely knackered. So we just booked accommodation there and then at the end of the day. Stayed over, spoke to the client and said, look, we had to stay over. It went on longer than we thought, and they were absolutely fine picking up the bill. But yeah,
and they generally are, because they've got a duty of care to look after you and make sure that you can get home safe, or, you know, quite often they will put you up if you ask for it in advance. So no, interesting. Well, mate, thank you ever so much.
No, thanks for having us.
If people want to go and check you out, where can they find you? You guys on YouTube? I know Alex is in the comments as well, so you can drop it in there for you. But
yeah, on YouTube, Echo-Alfa Limited, and Instagram, Echo-Alfa Limited as well, and then echoalfa.co.uk.
Ace.
So yeah.
Great stuff.
Cool.
Thank you ever so much, mate. No, thank you for your insights. It's much appreciated. Please, in the chat, show Adam and Echo-Alfa some love, and go and check them out. Go and follow their socials. Your socials are excellent, by the way. Like, they've really ramped up over the last few weeks.
I've had nothing better to do.
Oh yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. There you go. So expect that to fall off a cliff again, right?
Totally.
Oh dear. No, it's been they've been really good. But no, thank you for bringing your insights. And like you say, it's interesting following that journey, and go and follow the guys on their journey as they start to do more stuff. Hopefully, as everything unlocks over the next few weeks.
Yep.
Cheers, mate. Have a good one. Catch you soon. There we go. So, hopefully that was interesting. Hopefully, you guys and girls got a lot from that. Say, you know, if you're enjoying these things, drop it in the comments for me, and we will continue to get people on. Next week, we've got Will Glover, who is the chief pilot at a company called Fly, coming on to join us. Again, very, very experienced heavy lift drone pilot, operated on lots of film, lots of TV, lots of drama, lots of broadcast all over the world. Kind of, very, very experienced, very, very talented, very astute young businessman as well. So he will be joining us next week. So please, for that. I'm just going to go through the chats again. I have to say, the ones where people have put super chats, thank you ever so much for the few of you who've done that. Darren Eleanor and Steve Fuller, by the looks of ththings. They really stand out. And because I get so many of these in, this isn't me just trying to sell them. Actually, if you get the 99p one or whatever, it's probably a really good way of getting your video, your question answered, because it makes it stand out above everybody else. So there we go. Could you finish your answer on commercial operations? Greg Draven, welcome to the channel. Hopefully I answered that for you. But if I didn't, please let me know. Trying to find what else we've got going on. Can I recommend insurance for a hobby flyer? I think I saw that getting answered. The FPV UK insurance is very good for that. The BMFA, if you become a BMFA member, is good for that as well. Oh, there you go, FPV and BMFA. Thanks, James from James Camwings, jumping in and saying that and answering it. Cover Drone, I think, do recreational drone insurance as well, so it might be worth checking them out. And I imagine it'd be a very easy step up to go for commercial insurance if you did it. Just trying to look through, see if there's anything that stands out. Guys, if I've missed your questions and you really want them answering, please drop them in the bottom. Big George, I was outside like a fool looking for the SpaceX launch, lol. Yeah, it's on Saturday, mate. Sorry. Steve Fuller bought a Microdrone 3 and an Expo as a present for a friend. It was cool. Did think about funding the 4 looks like I dodged a bullet. I think you definitely did. Worth catching up with Sean and watching his live stream recordings about that. Like I say, I just think it's one of those to be aware of. That's the one about going into space. People say that they've seen 747s with 5 engines. Yeah. Same by Sean's. Sean's reluctant to go to 30,000 feet. Space is a no for me. I'll get you there one day, mate. I'll get you there one day. Greg Draven, Matt, which would be better PLI, FPV, or BMFA. In terms of public liability, you're probably going to have to go with someone else. They'll cover you for third party under those policies. As far as I'm aware, I'm not a broker or an underwriter, but don't know whether they'll cover you for PLI as I would take it. We have our own PLI on that side of things. There we go. Volume, hopefully I've managed to get that sorted. AirTech Images, I think, was asking Adam, what did the OSC let you do? Was the OSC dynamic depending on job? I don't think the guys on mind sharing it. Yeah, it was Inspire 2 down to 10 meters effectively in certain cases. So there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot that goes into the per job risk assessments. But actually, if it's written correctly, the safety management system, and this is a big change. It's you go to a safety management system, or you should do an OSC right, rather than individual risk assessments for each time that you go flying. So I think it actually makes things a lot easier because you understand exactly what it is you're supposed to be doing. Thank you, Matthew, for jumping in and telling people what that is. The OSC, that's in here. Greg, I lost. Has my audio gone really low again? Right, okay. Hopefully that's boosted it back up again. Sorry guys for this. I will get that sorted. Very cool. I lost all my work this year, so thought I could get into drone photography, but man, it's more complex than I first thought. Already bought a Mavic Mini though. Mavic Mini is a great drone to start off with, and a great tool. It's one that we have. Audio's cutting in and out. Okay, no worries. I'm really sorry if that's frustrating people. I will again try and get that sorted over the next few days so that it's all good for next week. Hopefully everything else is a little better than it was before. But yeah, Greg, there is a lot to the business side of things. You know, it's not just flying a drone. You are effectively starting a brand new business, and that is never an easy ride. It's not a golden ticket. It's not an easy way to make money. You know, so what you're doing by the looks of things, which is not focusing on not sucking as a pilot at the moment. Yeah, that's exactly what you need to be doing, mate. Get out and practice and practice and practice. That is the do it. So there we go. Sounds like audio's gated. Interesting. Okay, I'll take a look. But like I say, hopefully it's not been too bad. But I'll have a play around with OBS. Right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. As I say, but as always, please make sure you hit that like button. It really helps us out. Drop a quick thanks in the comments. That'll be again much appreciated. Just increases that engagement. YouTube see it more and promote it out there. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and spread the word about it if you are so inclined. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the weather. Fly safely if you want to, if you're able to get out and fly. And I hope to see you all next Thursday. Don't forget as well, by the way, just before I do go, join us on the Discord server. There's a link to that down below. For those of you who haven't heard of Discord before, don't be scared of it. Go and check that out. We've got a great community on there where we talk about stuff like this on the text all the time. And I'm always there to try and help out as best I can. Sean from GEEKSVANA, popping in £3 at the last minute on the super chat. You are a gent. Thank you very much, sir. Go and follow Sean over on his channel. Go and do that. Press like and subscribe on mine. Go over to Sean and go and do the same. Let's show him some love. Guys, thank you ever so much. I've been Matt Williams. I'll see you in the next one. Fly safe. Blue skies.